Well, our two leopards are fast asleep, James Henry. They are taking it very easy, and I hope this bodes well for the Friday TV show that we will be doing for Big Cat Week. That it will be at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So I'm hoping that these two will stick around, because it will be lovely for James, who's going to be hosting from this area, I would imagine. And maybe these two will appear for him. I know James has a very soft spot for Hosana, and the more time that James gets to spend with him, the better. So I do hope that he does appear for James, and that they have a magic time with him all around Chitwa Dam, and hopefully Shadow also arrives with the little cub. Now, while we've been sitting here, I said that I was going to be leaving shortly, but some of the other guys very kindly decided that they will pull out and leave the sighting before us, so we can spend a little bit longer. So we have to be very thankful from Peter, who always helps us as much as he can. And while we've been sitting here, there's been some impalas alarm calling behind me, so I wonder if maybe just Shadow's cub is not somewhere close by as well. And if not Shadow's cub, you never know. Tingana wasn't too far from here yesterday, so maybe he's arriving on the scene at some point too. And you can never write off Tumba in this area as well, so worth maybe just sitting for another few minutes just to see what happens. You can see he's popped his head up now, and I wonder if that's maybe because of the fact that he's maybe heard these impalas alarm calling as well in the distance, and that's why he's just kind of poked his head up. But you can see that dewlap that is forming that I was talking about earlier. That skin is starting to hang a little bit, and he's growing up day by day, isn't he? He's starting to get very bulky as well. His shoulder area is quite large, and so he looks absolutely great. Noan, I think it was. I didn't get the name very well there. Sorry, Nikki. You're wondering if Hosana should be called a sub-adult now. Yes, indeed. Milan, there we go, sorry about that. Yes, Hosana is a sub-adult now, so he is not an adult, and he's not a cub anymore. He's most definitely a sub-adult. He's at that age where he has now basically kind of, even if Karula was still around, he would have left Karula by now. He's now in that nomadic phase of his life where he's still utilizing a bit of the natal territory in order to kind of set himself up, and then from there he'll move around a little bit. What's been interesting with him in particular is that he has not distributed as far as I would have thought, and it's because of the behavior of Tingana. Tingana is not pushing him, and we've seen him and Tingana together, and it only when Tingana starts pushing him will he then start to move on anywhere. The other problem that he has is that there's not really anywhere to go at the Flat Rock Male on Londolozi. He's got his other brother in the form of Kunuma to the south, his quarantine to the east, and so he's got kind of not really many options. So sitting tight where he is now on Little Gari and Juma and Chitwa is the best place for him, because at the end of the day, as long as Dad's being tolerant, he's not having to fight with any of these other male leopards, and he can then try and wing it and get bigger and stronger before he moves on. Kristen, you're wondering if Hosana is rewriting the leopard manual. Well, I suppose to a degree it's been really interesting watching his behavior. He's certainly the first young male leopard that I've seen as social as what he is. Him and Tumba also seems not to care at all with all these other females. Not quite as much as Hosana, but it's still, he kind of hangs around with the females too. But he definitely is far different to a lot of the young males that I've seen, and his distribution has not taken place that quickly. Normally you'll see when a young male loses his mom or is no longer with his mom that he starts to leave really quickly and is no longer seen after a few months, whereas Hosana has been here most of the year. He looks completely comfortable, doesn't look like he's getting any pressure at this stage, and so who knows, maybe he is going to rewrite the books. And that's the best thing about being out here, watching these safaris, being a part of this and sharing all of this with you guys live, is that we follow these cats and we follow these characters and these animals, and we learn things that maybe books can't tell us. I mean, each animal is unique. Each animal will adapt to its surroundings and adapt to its situation in its own unique way. And sometimes books just aren't always the answer. Sometimes the animals don't read these books, they don't know what rules are, and they will do things the way that they feel needs to be done in order to survive. Now, Nikki, I didn't hear you, I'm afraid. If you can repeat that again for me, sorry. So, Palin, you asking if leopards can write. Well, yes, I suppose if Hosana was rewriting his book, it would be a requirement to write. Maybe he's got an app where he can just dictate and it just writes for him, or he's going to employ the services of James Henry, who we know is an author in his own right, and get him to write the book. And write a book for him. And did you say you'd read anything that he wrote? Well, are we talking about James now, or are we talking about Hosana? Either way, I suppose it would be entertaining if you combine the two of them together. I feel like James's wit with Hosana's goofiness would probably combine to make an incredibly good book to read. So maybe that's what we should do, is The Tales of Hosana by James R.A. Henry and co-authored by Hosana himself. But it is amazing to see him. Like I say, even though he's sleeping and he's not up to too much, it's been an absolute pleasure to spend time with him this afternoon. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But we are going to have to move now. Unfortunately, we really have pushed it a little bit. And so while we kind of leave this area, let's go back across to Noel and the drama of the wild dog as it unfolds into the darkness of the night.